What is going on, my bueno people, and welcome to something new that we're doing because we're switching up the channel. Today I want to jump into the start of something that'll be on the channel once a week. I really want to delve into sharing a fandom that I love more than anything. It comes very close to the love that I have for my wife. Just joking. But I want to talk about Power Rangers. It's something that I talk about a little bit on the podcast and I'm on TNA Nerdcast. But I really want to jump into it and kind of share with you guys my feelings and thoughts on things. I've done some, 30th anniversary news on here, and it did okay. This is more for me. This is me just kind of talking, and that's why I'm not on the face cam doing anything. This is me with stuff in the background because I want to go with it. And normally it'll be more scripted, but today is just kind of me explaining my love for Power Rangers and where it comes from. And so just sit back, relax, and buckle up because this will be a nice little video, I hope. So in 1992, this little show, 1993, this little show called Power Rangers was born. And I was 2 years old. That's where 1992 came from. I was 2 years old. And from the age of 2 until the age of 31, where I'm at now, I have been in love with this show for 30 years. Pretty much. Coming on 30 years. And there's a lot of reasons behind it. But let me back up a little bit. I come from a family, you could say a broken family, not like a broken home or anything, but my parents did get divorced when I was younger. I have two older sisters. I grew up with two older sisters, and I have two step-siblings. And I am close with my older sister, on and off with my oldest sister, and close to my stepsister, but not really close to my stepbrother. And that's a big deal here because Mighty Morphin specifically ended up becoming, those Rangers ended up becoming friends and siblings to my little brain. So, and it was more, not so much when I was 2 or 3, it was Power Rangers. It was Power. I remember when the 95 movie came out, I was so excited. My sister took me to go see it, and I think I get these memories crossed a little bit because I was young. But what I remember in my head, and I don't remember when exactly the 95 movie came out, like what time of year. I thought it was holidays. Let me see here while I'm typing, so you'll probably hear some keyboarding, maybe if the music isn't drawing it out. Let's see here, 1995. Yeah, it came out June 30th, so my memory is a bit skewed on it. But I swear up and down, my sister took me to go see it, and then that night we went back home, and I remember having the Ninja Megazord there with this really cool pillow that you unfold the pillow, it becomes a blanket. I still have it to this day. One of my favorite blankets of all time. One I will never get rid of. And I also have a sleeping bag as well. But I remember that memory so well. Then also before that, when I remember getting my first Red and Blue Ranger and Lord Zed when I was younger. But when I was little, Power Rangers was everything. The toys. My first Megazord was a remote control Megazord, and then I got a Tiger Zord, which was the same way. I got a Saba that shot off the Tiger Zord toy. I don't know what happened to that. I wish I still had that. And I had a Red Ranger chair. Power Rangers was my thing. I remember potty training. My parents would tell me they had to negotiate with me. I would get Power Ranger underwear if I would potty train. If I would go to the big boy toilet on my own. Here we are 30. Here I am 31. And apparently it worked. But as I got older, I definitely during elementary school, I had friends at school. I didn't have friends that I got to hang out with out at home. I wasn't invited to any parties or birthday parties. I wasn't invited a lot of places, unless it was like a really close friend. I had like 2 or 3 close friends in elementary school. Everybody else, they were acquaintances. We weren't poor, but we were definitely on the lower end of middle class. And everybody else, I went to like the rich elementary school. And everybody else was on the higher end. Either higher to middle class, or they could be rich, because we lived in a farmhouse, and they all lived in these nice suburb homes. At least it's what it felt like to me as a 8-9-year-old. That's what I saw. But the point of Power Rangers behind that is my parents bought me VHSs, or I would get tapes from the video store, and I would just keep rewatching some of my favorite episodes. And one that I played a lot was Day of the Dumpster. That's one that got played so much in my house because it was the one that I had available. At that, I had the 95 movie. I had 1 or 2 parts of the Green with Evil series. And then it would come on from time to time as reruns. And I remember being at my dad's. And I'll get to this here in a second. But there's some memories of my dad's that I know somehow my little brain also got backwards as a kid. But we'll get to that here in a second. But being an only boy, I was 6 years younger than my older sister, 16 younger than my oldest, and then my stepsister was in the middle of that. So I was the youngest. And Power Rangers took my time, like basically, and not in a bad way, but like my mom didn't have to worry about me because I was either in the yard or I was watching Power Rangers. I was playing with my toys, and it became this imaginative world. But it also became a place where, Jason the Red Ranger was like my big brother. Billy and Zach were big brothers. Adam and Tommy were big brothers. Rocky, not so much. Love you, Steve. Nothing against Steve Cardenas. He's a great guy. I've just never been in love with the character Rocky, and there's a lot of stuff behind that. But no, it's just that's really what it was. They became a part of my life, part of my world. They were the thing that kept me happy. That took me away from any kind of bullying or anything, or feeling like no one liked me because I wasn't invited to go do anything because I had these people. And that love ran right out the door when I kept getting bullied for it. So in 3rd grade, we had show and tell, and we were allowed to bring things. So the teacher made a board and a table in front of that board. And when it was your day, you were able to bring pictures in and your favorite toy, your favorite item, and things about you liked. And for me, pictures with my grandpa, pictures with my sister, and I brought in my Lightspeed Rescue Megazord, the Rescue Megazords. And there was a girl who was like, "Is that Power Rangers?" Ugh. Again, we're in 3rd grade. 3rd grade, okay? I was in the demographic for what they were trying to sell, but for some reason, these kids I had gone to school with were like, "Nah, Power Rangers is for babies. Now, we ain't about that life no more." And so I had no one except for my friend Dylan to really talk to about this, to really like relate to that. And sadly, Dylan and I didn't hang out a whole lot outside of school. And I remember one day being invited over to his house, 4th or 5th grade. I think it was 4th grade. And he said, "Hey, I've got all these toys in this closet. I don't really play with them anymore. You want to take them home?" And I remember it was Andros's Mega Voyager Zord. Not the whole Mega Voyager, just like his like astronaut Zord or whatever it was. I remember he was like, "You have that." And I don't know, I think my little brother took that because I don't have that anymore. But I remember that. And he was the only friend for a long time that connected with me on that. And then he disappeared. A lot of personal stuff happened. I'm not going to go into that. So from middle school all the way until like the end of high school, I just kept my love for Power Rangers a secret, except for my neighbor Megan. I kind of got her into it with Dino Thunder. She kind of accepted it a little bit at that point. But other than that, besides my friend Dylan in elementary school, and my little brother who I was able to, share this with, I didn't have anybody. I didn't have anybody to appreciate this or any friend that wanted it. So my friends were the ones on the TV. They were the friends that I had. Every season was a new friend, but I kept going back to Mighty Morphin. When Power Rangers Playback, I think, was on Jetix, and they were going through the seasons, I made sure that I rewatched everything. I made sure that I on our DVR I was recording that, because I wanted to go back and have all of that and watch it. And the episodes that were my favorite were Mighty Morphin Season 1, definitely the first half of 2, and Zeo. Those were my 3 favorite seasons. And I'm sure you can guess why. Because Austin St. John returned. Austin St. John was in there. Austin St. John, to this day, is my Red Ranger. He's my hero. And everybody loves Tommy. Everybody picks Tommy. I love Tommy. I love JDF. May he rest in power. But Austin has always been that big brother I've wanted my whole life. That big brother I have just wanted to tell me that he was proud of me, because I didn't have that. I had to fight with my sisters, and to this point, I still fight with one of my sisters a lot. And I don't. You shouldn't have to fight with your siblings once you reach a certain age. I think it's ridiculous that you do, and it happens a lot, and it gets very discouraging. And I have a lot of like adopted older brothers. I say adopted, but like the older brothers that life gives you, like your friends that are older. I have a lot of those, but never that biological older brother who will pick you up and tell you life is okay. It's gonna be okay. And for me, it's always been Austin St. John. Anytime I watch a video of his, I always feel better. I always feel very welcomed. When I've met him twice. First time, I think it was a year after he returned. And I got to talk to him with him for about 10 minutes. Got to see him twice the same day, talk to him. Had a great time. Got to morph with him. It was a dream come true. And then I got to share that with my wife in 2019. So I think 4 years later, and we got to meet up in Kansas City, and it was another dream come true, because I got to share. It was like taking my wife to go meet this imaginative big brother in my head for them to meet. And ever since then, she's been a huge Austin St. John fan. She's a huge Trini and Jason shipper, and we'll talk about that at some point too. But I think that's my point, is Power Rangers for me is more than a group of 5 or 6 teenagers with attitude who save the day. Power Rangers is a safe place for me, and I know it's a safe place for a lot of people, but for me it's definitely, these are my people. These are the people who sheltered me when I didn't have friends, or I didn't have a brother to the right word, not nurture me, but to help me grow, to give me guidance. Like, these characters are what guided me into becoming the person I am today. Without Austin, or even Jason David, Frank, those two for sure. Those two specifically, because when Austin left, JDF took that mantle until Austin returned. Like, I told Anthony this over at TNA. My favorite version of JDF as Tommy is Dino Thunder. When he comes back as Dr. Rowe, that was like, because I didn't even know. I think I've said this in another video, but I didn't even know he was coming back for Dino Thunder, because I was behind. It was on Jetix, and I remember sitting at my dad's, waiting to go, and a commercial for Power Rangers comes on. And I just see Tommy there. I'm like, what is he doing here? And so I started watching Dino Thunder, and Dino Thunder Black and Dino Thunder Blue are my two favorite Dino Rangers. from that season. And it's weird because I'm normally a Red Ranger guy, but Connor's cool, but he didn't do anything for me. Ethan was the nerd like I was, and there he was, Tommy, one of the guys who was this surrogate older brother to me, was back as an adult at that, and he was mentoring this time, and that meant a crazy deal to me. So, like, those two characters specifically, Jason and Tommy, those two actors, Austin St. John and Jason David Frank, mean the world to me, and they're the reason why Power Rangers is in my blood. They're the reason why Power Rangers is, at the end of the day, probably my favorite superhero franchise. Even though it's had its misses, I don't think they've been that bad of misses. But yeah, they are the reason why I'm into it and why I love it so much. And then as you get older, the stories get a little bit better and the acting gets better. I love the Disney era. Disney era had some great moments. Not a huge Neo Saban fan, except for Dino Charge. I love Dino Charge. I love Beast Morphers, and I love and I love Dino Fury. I enjoy Dimensions in Danger a lot. Was not a huge fan of the Legendary Battle, but I like seeing people return. But for me, the seasons that kind of were in between Beast Morphers, so Ninja Steel, Mega Force, Super Mega Force, Super Samurai, those ones are hard for me. Samurai, Super Samurai, I watched, I enjoyed. Probably ones I've not gone back to rewatch. Same with Mega Force, it was but I did watch it. And the Ninja Steel, I've had to just kind of like jump through, but it's not one that I can go back to. Dimensions in Danger I can go back to, but nothing else. But yeah, it's just, I think that's why I want to explain to you guys why I'm doing Power Rangers and not something else, is because as much as I love Marvel or DC, Power Rangers means more to me than any other show on TV, because it's what made me feel not like an outcast. It made me feel good. My mom got me a book. I'm sure some other people got this book too. Personalized book that you help the Power Rangers out. And it had my older sister, my cousin, who was probably my first best friend when we were younger, and my sister's best friend at the time. They also got put in the book too, because the four of us hung out when I was little. And when I say hang out, I mean like we were together all the time. So there's that. My mom got personalized, like I got a sweater from when I was younger, with my face like morphing. So like, you know, the Mighty Morphin Morph, how they, like, their face is just floating there with their hands. Like it was kind of the same thing with me. There's just so much, and there's a reason why. And my mom and both my mom and dad have always supported it. Even to this day, they support my love for that show. I remember telling my mom that JDF passed away last week, and she was just in shock. It hit her like it hit me. And it's because my mom also watched the show with me. My mom knew everything to know about it. So that is what Power Rangers is to me. It is more than a TV show for kids. It is a safety net and a welcoming force. And I will always stand by the show. But that is the beginning of why Power Rangers, what it means to me, and we'll definitely dive in later on more topics. But I just wanted to tell you this is what it means to me and why we're going to jump into it. We're going to have theories, we're going to have reactions, maybe some guest people on here talking about it, but I really want to dive into that. So thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you next time.